Stillers 365 here at TribLive.com. I'm Ken Laird. It's all brought to you by our good friends at Eastern H2O in the Fox Chapel Plaza, home of the Reactor Watches, the best-built performance sport watch, period. We continue our series of draft vignettes previews here at TribLive.com. We've gone through receivers, running backs, tight ends, just taking a little peek. Wanted to focus on offensive line today to get a taste of what's out there. The Steelers and the O-line, hard to expect they would go there in the first round this year at the 17th pick. They've actually focused quite a bit on the big uglies here in the last few drafts. Last year, taking Mike Adams with the second round, a tackle. The previous year, Marcus Gilbert. They also have Kelvin Beachum in the mix, who has played some for them. And going into free agency, they're going to lose Max Starks. Ramon Foster, who has played some tackle in a pinch for them, is also a guy they're going to try to re-sign. But they look like they've got a pretty good group there, even if Starks leaves, and Foster does too. The top couple of tackle prospects in this year's draft, you're going to see, I think, Eric Fisher, based on all the buzz of him at the Senior Bowl, the 6'7", 305-pound product out of Central Michigan, be a top 10 guy. It certainly looks like he will be. And tackles typically go fast and furious. 2 years ago, there were 6 of them that went. Last year, only 2. Matt Khalil to Minnesota, he was a stud right away, and Riley Reif to Detroit at 23, so it was a bit of a down year. There are a lot of teams that need tackles, and I expect there to be a bunch that go again this year. Luke Jokel will be another one, and a few others in the mix, Lane Johnson. Probably the more likely, I mean, it's a long shot still at guard. The Steelers did take a guard in the first round last year in David DeCastro, but you could see them maybe looking second, third, fourth round. Again, it's still a bit of a stretch, but if there was a guy there that had a great value, could the Steelers take a guard fairly high again in this year's draft? They will have Willie Colon a decision to make. 2 years left on Colon's contract. If they cut him after June 1st, the team will save $5.5 million off next year's cap. Now, that makes a lot of dead money for 2 years down the road, but it would free up a lot of space this year. And as we know, they head into the offseason with a lot of cap problems. They could decide to give Willie another chance. He's had, obviously, a 3-year run of real bad injury history here. If they decide to go that route, they could also put that money toward Ramon Foster, bring him back, make him their left tackle. They like what they have seen from David DeCastro coming off his injury. Got back in the lineup late in the year, and he's probably your right guy. But when we have seen Steelers championship lines over the last few years, in 05 they certainly had Alan Faneca, Marvell Smith, Starks on the right side, a good line. Probably got away with winning a Super Bowl, with Ben Roethlisberger sort of mocking the crowd after they won in 08. Who's laughing now? O-line. It was a collection of almost no names. But you see the teams that were in the Super Bowl this year, definitely the San Francisco 49ers built up front, and the Baltimore Ravens got it done with tackles that really protected Joe Flacco down the stretch and peaked at the right time. So you need a big line. If Chance Warmack of Alabama were somehow available to them in the second round, obviously, but even at 17 in the first round, he's the consensus number one, 6'2", 322. You saw him in the national championship game. Moves, great for his size, gets to the second level. Could you see the Steelers taking Warmack to pair him with DeCastro, 2 elite first-round tackles? Again, it's a long shot, but if this is, as everybody's comparing him to, the Will Shields of the future, a future Hall of Fame guard, he'd be tough to pass like DeCastro was last year. So just a little glimpse at O-line. It's way down on the team's list of needs. But a new Todd Haley offense, trying to protect Ben Moore, it's become a priority. We've seen that in the last few drafts. We'll continue our draft previews here through the next couple of months, 80 days or so until the draft begins in late April. This is Steelers 365, brought to you by Eastern H2O.